from this same source, from this same energy potential. But is it inside you or is it outside you?
Because some people say, I must first enter the inner world, be at peace with myself, so that I can help and give myself to others.
And now the question is interesting. What does an inner world mean?
I'd say it's both inside you and outside of you.
And now here we come to the most important part you just mentioned.
What does it mean for us to exist? Are there laws, rules, and principles that help us in this development? Some say that each thought on a particular subject activates a particular vibration within us, which generates a response of thoughts, sensations, and emotions that vibrate at a similar frequency. And the more often we expand and activate these vibrations, the more expanded we become and attract a greater and greater range of frequencies. There is, of course, the argument that such laws and principles have already been adopted by the Universal Council, and our existence depends entirely on what those laws are. What is our intervention as a civilization, and can we change anything? How long do they need to be followed, and why do they even exist?
Hello, welcome to the new episode of the YR1 Series, where we are all together and helping each other to think more consciously and experience life as it really is. Today we tackled a very interesting topic which I think is not explained in Bulgaria, especially on YouTube. The 5 laws of existence, Ivo. What do you have to say about this?
The 5 laws of existence. This is the principle of existence at all. This is the pattern by which the world is created, through which the world exists, and the meaning of existence itself.
It is very important, let's just say. This applies to everyone. These laws are universal for each one of us, no exceptions.
Universal for the entire universe.
Before we go on, let's just add, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the videos every week. There's a bell there to pop up notifications because YouTube often doesn't send. Also, down in the description, we'll leave everything you need if you want to pick up any of the books, if you want to enroll in the academy. Everything will be in the description described in detail. You exist and this is unchangeable is the first law.
The idea here is to realize the eternity of existence itself. That is, once we are manifested, once we exist in a given pattern that we have chosen to manifest, this does not change from then on, but the fact of existence itself does not change. And actually, the 5th law says that everything is changeable. The idea is that the fact of existence does not change. And this model of awareness of things is very interesting here. You exist, and first, we need to understand what the pattern of that existence is. If we are all one unified energy that is unified as a whole, we, in order to exist, need to sort of separate from that unified energy. It is like water and a drop of water. In order to have a separation of the drop of water, we, in some way, that drop of water need to isolate it from the total amount of water that we have in, say, an ocean.
If we don't isolate ourselves, don't we exist?
No, we exist on the same principle, but we are inside the whole.
And we cannot understand that we are neither the drop nor the water.
That is, it is necessary to separate. Kind of if, say, everything is the same frequency, how do we know that we are that frequency? In other words, if we are only light and there is no darkness, will we know that we are light? It is necessary to have a basis for comparison. Otherwise, there would be no such basis of comparison, and we would take the light for granted, that it just is. And the idea here is that for a pattern to exist, it needs to be made up of 2 polarities.
Well, if you exist and it is unchanging, does that mean that existence itself is unchanging, but every single thing in our world while we live changes?
Absolutely right. Existence itself as existence, as a fact of existence, is immutable. That is, we will always exist.
No matter in what form?
Exactly, always. It doesn't matter what form, it doesn't matter which planet, which place, even which end of the universe we are. Once we exist, we always exist. As here, there is an essential point. According to our choice, we have the right to choose where to exist, exactly what to explore, exactly how to explore, a given limitation that we talked about. The idea here is that we are one common energy, and in that total energy, we isolate a part of the energy that is a certain amount of information, and we study that certain amount of information and how it interacts with other constraints, with another amount of information.
Okay, how can we learn to use this amount of information once we are aware of it already? Let's just say we didn't know that before. We already understand. We exist. We are energy. This is unchanging. How do we use it?
Well, first of all, let's realize that our task is, after we exist in a limitation, our mission, our task to live at all, to exist, to be manifested, is to constantly, slowly expand.
The balloon.
The balloon or the constraint we are in.
Why do you call it a constraint?
Because it limits from all information a certain amount.
A certain...
Range,
Yes, a certain range?
and this certain range is strictly fixed. In a moment though, the next moment, because it's a stretched space-time, the next moment we're putting in a little more, a little more, a little more, and we're constantly expanding the range of our knowledge, but this applies to a certain environment.
What do you mean by that?
The idea here is that we have made a choice to explore, let's say, what is it like to be a screwdriver? I give this as an example so that our viewers understand that the screwdriver is also a thinking structure. All is mind, the world is mental. If you are a screwdriver, what is your mission? What do you need to explore?
You are a tool. They can use you to screw or unscrew all kinds of things.
The corresponding screws, videos, bolts, etc. That is, in the world of the screwdriver, will coal appear, for example,
Most likely not.
or will a tree appear? Only if it has to be screwed somewhere.
That is, this also applies to us.
Absolutely the same applies to ourselves. If we are manifested to explore a certain state, will we be manifested something different?
That is, where we have focused our attention. In other words, we will not notice those parts of the world that are not synchronized with our attention.
Absolutely true. This is our choice.
Simply put, if I'm interested in music, things won't appear, let's say about space, about becoming an astronaut.
Nor will you go to become
An engineer.
an engineer. Or take your accordion to the construction site for the bricks to build themselves.
Absolutely. That is, the most important thing from the first law of creation is that we must realize that we always exist. That's it.
However, in two polarities, and one flows into the other, always. Why? Isn't the energy the same? And since the energy is the same, let's admit the version. In one direction, we are always devoted to interaction with the environment. At the same time, if we reverse the direction at the border itself,
We are uncommitted.
but at the border itself we are not committed to the environment. We are a species separate from the environment. And now look what happens. We are the same energy whose direction is devotion to the middle, but at the border we are turned upside down. In this way, we separate ourselves from the environment itself, become individual and unique, for the range of our expansion as spheres of information is strictly individual, according to the choices we have made, the selection for the research we are looking for. The point of our existence is to explore the very limitation in its interaction with others or with environment. And here is the interesting point. We both study our interaction with others, and at the same time, our border is turned towards ourselves.
Okay, so where does this whole thing go? I have to take care of myself first, and then I'll take care of everyone else if I'm okay. Because some people say, I must enter my inner world first, be at peace with myself so that I can help and give myself to others.
And now the question is interesting. What does inner world mean? Inner world means inside the sphere or outside the sphere? Inside the limitation I already am, or outside the limitation I am?
Some people accept the inner world, let's say, when they feel some inner voice, intuition, something is told to them which they ask.
And where does this information come from?
From this same energy potential.
From this same source, from this same energy potential. Is he inside you or outside you?
I would say that it is both within you and outside of you.
I would say that it is both within you and outside of you. And now here we come to the most important part that you just mentioned. We are all that is. And we have confined ourselves to a space so that we can explore that space as it interacts with the rest of all, which is. And then we come to I am, and all that I'm not. But it also exists, and our task to live, to experience, is the exploration of this I am with the rest, which is again me, but which I have not yet focused on being me.
Yes, and not just being me and that's it, because most people stop at I am.
And here's the interesting point. If you focus and stay on this boundary with an inward direction,
what happens then?
will there be an interaction? Okay, can there be a study of interactions without interaction?
No.
Then our only chance to interact, to explore interaction itself, is by turning outward, realizing that we have put a boundary through which to explore this outside.
That is for all the people, in my opinion, who take this border as something bad. In my opinion, what we can take as the biggest lesson is to take this border as a guide, as something that gives us direction. Because otherwise, we set ourselves up and don't want to get out of it. And if we accept it as if it were the bridge between what separates us from what we are now and what we can become, and if we use every path as a ladder, as a helper, can we take it that way?
Yes. I would even add that, in fact, if we assume that these are our filters with which we are filtered from the environment, the filters help us to adapt more easily to the environment itself.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
And each subsequent filter, as you explained it, is the step towards ever better adaptation to the environment. And in practice this way, however, we change and evolve. And we are tasked every day with getting to know the next filter and the next.
We humans know about these filters. We use them every day, but most of us blame them and hate them. We think they are a bad thing instead of just looking at them as our helpers, because we think that we need something other than these filters to go down this path. And they are the same filters.
And that is the paradox.
This is a huge paradox. It's like a screwdriver or a pen. It's either a killer or a helper.
And it depends on what you accept.
That is, the filter in itself, sorry to interrupt you, but to conclude, it is a means.
A tool.
Okay, a tool.
A tool with which we adapt better to the environment. And we must love our filters and constantly upgrade them to be the ladder of our success.
Great! That was the first law of the 5 laws of existence. You exist, and that is unchangeable. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new episodes of YR1. Bow and thank you for being with us, and we sincerely hope you are together because we are all together for our one.